Now, in the vast landscape of scales and modes, we'll find the so-called dominant pentatonic scale. And it's one of the many variations of the pentatonic scale, which main characteristic is that it has only 5 notes, as we all know. Penta means 5, right? Now, there are 2 types of dominant pentatonic scales that are often confused, and those are the dominant pentatonic scale itself and the Mixolydian pentatonic scale. Now, both scales could be derived from the Mixolydian scale or dominant scale that we know as the 5th mode of the major scale. And both pentatonic scales are used mainly over dominant and altered chords. Well, so far so good. So let's take a look at the 2 variants of the dominant pentatonic scale more in depth. Now, the dominant pentatonic scale is built from the notes of the major triad, a minor 7th and a 9th degree. And the combination of the major 3rd and minor 7th makes it a dominant scale. And that's because this interval is an unstable tritone that has a strong need to resolve. In fact, the only 3 notes that you need for the sound and tension of a dominant chord are the root, the major 3rd and the minor 7th degree. And this is exactly what we do when playing a shell voicing of this chord, for instance. Now, a shell voicing is a minimal representation of a particular 7 chord containing only the absolute necessary notes, the root, the 3rd and the 7th. Now, in this case, a G dominant 7 chord containing the root G, the major 3rd B and the minor 7th F. And this dominant pentatonic scale could be seen as the major pentatonic scale with a minor 7th instead of a major 6th. So, this is one way to approach the dominant pentatonic scale, but you could also see it as a Mixolydian scale, where the 4th and 6th are omitted. Now, the major 2nd degree is also the 9th, and that makes it in fact a dominant 9 arpeggio. So in theory, this is a dominant 9 arpeggio, but it feels much more like a pentatonic scale because of the fingering that is so similar to the pentatonic scale patterns that we all know. Now, the other scale is a Mixolydian pentatonic scale, and this scale also contains the notes of the major triad and the minor 7th, so this makes it a dominant scale just like the other one. In contrast to the dominant pentatonic scale, this Mixolydian pentatonic scale has a perfect 4th degree instead of a 2nd or 9th degree. Now, that 4th degree can be seen as the 11th, and this creates a dominant 11 arpeggio, more or less. The scale could be seen as a minor pentatonic scale, but now the minor 3rd is a major 3rd. Now, you could also see the Mixolydian pentatonic scale as a 5-note version of the Mixolydian scale, where the 2nd and 6th degree are omitted. Now let's look a little closer to the dominant pentatonic scale. This dominant pentatonic scale can be played over dominant 7, dominant 9, and even over altered chords. The patterns of this scale look like this. Now, the notes are color-coded, so it's easy to see where, for instance, the minor 7th and 9th are located within the pattern. Now, these patterns are a little bit more difficult to learn than the patterns of the major pentatonic scale, for instance. Let's say the patterns are more jumpy in relation to the fingering. Now, here's an example of the use of the dominant pentatonic scale over a dominant 7 chord. And to create a more lively and maybe blues effect, you can add the minor 3rd to the scale, but use this sparsely. Now the dominant pentatonic scale is also an interesting choice for playing over an altered chord. And this is a dominant chord where the 5th, the 9th or both are altered with a half step. Altered chords are for instance the dominant 7th flat 5, dominant 7th flat 9, dominant 7th sharp 5 and dominant 7th sharp 9 chords. Now the dominant pentatonic scale can be used over such an altered chord. Now the tonic of the dominant pentatonic scale should be a tritone away from the root of the altered chord where you play over. A tritone interval is an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth and has a tonal distance of 3 whole steps. For example, play the D flat dominant pentatonic scale over a G altered chord. Now this whole idea is based on a tritone substitution. This is the replacement of a dominant chord with another dominant chord that is a tritone away. In this case, G dominant 7 is replaced by D flat dominant 7. And this works because both chords share the same unstable tritone. In this case, the tritone B, F and C flat F, which is enharmonic the same interval. Now the notes of the D flat dominant pentatonic scale are D flat, E flat, F, A flat and C flat. And over the G chord, the notes result in altered notes. D flat becomes the flat 5 or sharp 11, and E flat becomes the flat 13 or sharp 5. F is the minor 7th and A flat is the flat 9. C flat is the major third because C flat is enharmonic equal to the note B. Now the D flat dominant pentatonic scale over a G dominant 7 chord results in an altered sound. Here's an example of that dominant pentatonic scale played over such an altered chord. Now, as we have seen earlier in the video, the Mixolydian pentatonic scale is in fact a minor pentatonic scale with a major third. The difference with the common dominant pentatonic scale is that it has a perfect fourth instead of a second degree, and this alters the sound. Now the notes in the G Mixolydian pentatonic scale have the following harmonic functions: the tonic G, the major third B, perfect fourth or 11th C, perfect fifth D, and the minor 7th F. Here's an overview of the patterns of this Mixolydian pentatonic scale. Now the notes are again color-coded for a good insight in the degrees of the scale and where you can find them within the patterns. Especially the 11th colors the sound in a specific way. It creates a kind of happy vibe while maintaining the darker Mixolydian sound. And the next example, I play the G Mixolydian pentatonic scale over a G7 single chord backing track. And to add some juice, you can bend the minor third to the major third for a more bluesy effect. Now, the dominant and Mixolydian pentatonic scale are perfect examples of scales that are particularly suited for playing over one type of chord. And in this case, that is the dominant chord and even the altered chord. Now, both scales have a very strong relationship with the Mixolydian scale that is unmistakable associated with dominant chords. Now, the scale does have something from an arpeggio too. The dominant pentatonic scale, for instance, can be seen as a dominant 9 arpeggio, and the Mixolydian pentatonic scale could be seen as a dominant 11 arpeggio. Still, the fingering and the way it feels resembles much more a pentatonic scale, hence the names. Well, I hope this was useful for you and that everything was crystal clear, so you can start to use these scales over dominant chords and Mixolydian progressions. If so, please leave a like or a comment and subscribe for more. Visit my Patreon page for additional content, and while you're there you can download the free comprehensive guitar learning plan in 8 levels. Greets from the Netherlands, and bye!